Alright, this is like my fourth attempt trying to record this. I'm going to try to keep this video pretty short. Pretty much I'm just going to be showing off my manga collection. For a little bit of an insight, I've been collecting since early 2020, but there were some on and off moments. Like there was a whole year where I didn't really buy anything or even pick up anything. But lately I've been really back into it. I've been picking up a bunch and reading a bunch. Admittedly picking up a little too much for what my reading time can handle. Sorry if there's some awkward moments or slow moments throughout this recording. Pretty much I'm not used to talking to a camera at all. It's very foreign to me. I've uploaded my collection, pretty much updates here and there on my TikTok. That's where I'm really consistent, but I don't talk on those videos at all. I just show off, you know, what I pick up, or I show off my collection, or etc. And I just use the like AI text thing on there to talk. I actually don't do it myself. So talking on camera is very foreign to me, but again, I'm going to try my best to smooth through it. I'm recording this video now because I've recently gone a bit over 500 volumes, so I feel like I'm at a decent stopping point to finally show off some stuff. So for what I have these 3 shelves right here, and then I actually have a 4th shelf, which is a lonesome shelf over there. And I do have a non-fit pile, in quotation non-fit. I could make them fit on here, but it just wouldn't look good. It wouldn't aesthetically be pleasing. So I just have them right now kind of just stacked on the ground, which I'll show after my shelves. For the most part, my non-fit pile is just one-shots or stuff I don't have many volumes for anyway, like 1 or 3. So yeah. I guess we'll start at the top of my shelves. Up here, I have Bakuman, the complete box set, and then the Death Note box set. I do have some short stories and light novels and the volume 13 in the box set, and not displayed on my shelves, but I have the series displayed on my shelves. Then here I have kind of like some Tokyo Ghoul / Sue Ishida stuff. I have the Tokyo Ghoul box set. I have Chojin X volumes 1 and 2. This is not up to date. I believe they're at like volume 7 by now, honestly. I have yet to read it, but I'm sure I'll like it since I'm a big Tokyo Ghoul fan. Then I have the Tokyo Ghoul Re box set, and I'm not a big Funko Pop guy, but my girlfriend got me this, and I really liked this Funko Pop anyway, and I was thinking about getting it myself, just because I really like this one for some reason. You'll notice a trend throughout my collection that my girlfriend has gotten me a lot of stuff. She also got me the Death Note box set. So over here is kind of my Berserk related stuff. I do have another Kentaro Miura related thing in my collection that I used to have displayed on top of here, but it doesn't fit up here anymore. So I'll show that later because it's still on my shelves. But for up here, I have the artwork of Berserk. My girlfriend got me this, which I was super shocked. This is from a Japan Berserk exhibit, but you can still get these on eBay and secondhand. If you're a big Berserk fan, I think this is a must-have. Here I have the Guts and the Berserker Armor Pop-Up Parade figure. Not a big figure guy, I only have 2 figures, but this figure is so cool. And when I saw this figure, I understood why people got figures, because this figure is awesome. Then behind it, I have the Flame Dragon Knight light novel. I believe that is the light novel about Grunbeld. I have yet to read it, but I haven't even heard really good things about it, honestly. And then I have the official guidebook. Then down here, I have the Berserk singles 1 through 37. I am missing volumes 9 and 10, and the volumes after 37. I do have the deluxe editions also, which you'll see later on. Berserk is my favorite series, and I could talk on and on about it, and I could geek out about it. I think the series is a masterpiece, and it is easily a 10 out of 10. It's a shame that Kentaro Miura passed away, but I'm glad his team is, you know, continuing it. And the chapters that they've done are actually not bad, so we'll see where they go with it, however. But yeah, Berserk, I don't see any series passing this on my list. I love this series so much. The series had me writing essays for fun and analysis on characters and moments and arcs for fun, because I just loved this series so much. It's super poetic, there's a lot of depth to it, and super badass moments. I mean, Berserk is just awesome. I don't recommend it for everybody because it's definitely really dark, but it's still super good regardless. Over here is my second favorite manga. This was my favorite manga for years until I read Berserk. Here I have the illustrations book. My girlfriend also got me this. If you're a big Tokyo Ghoul fan, this is actually a really cool pickup. There's a lot of notes by Sue Ishida himself talking about the series and moments about some illustrations and stuff like that. So if you're a big Tokyo Ghoul fan, that's a good pickup. But for Tokyo Ghoul itself, I have 1 through 14 complete, and I have 1 through 16 of complete. Again, got both of these through the box sets. Tokyo Ghoul is a phenomenal read and a really good starting point in manga, or starting point to seinen manga. Sue Ishida's art is insane, and the premise and basic story of Tokyo Ghoul is super, super well done. And I think it's phenomenal all the way through. Super cool characters and super cool world building. I think Tokyo Ghoul gets hated on a bit because of people saying it's too edgy, but I don't have that issue at all with the series, and I think it is super, super well done. Definitely give Tokyo Ghoul a try if you haven't. Next, I have Gantz. This is my 4th favorite series. I have this rated at 9.5 out of 10. That just feels right. You'll notice that my rating for manga is usually just what feels right. Sometimes I have reasoning for it, and sometimes that's just what feels right. Gantz is so awesome. Gantz is usually a 50-50 with people. Either you love it or either you hate it. But for me, I absolutely loved this series, loved the characters. The basic plot point, I don't know how Hiro even could fathom thinking about something like that, but it is super, super well done. The artwork is amazing, and the moments are crazy. Kei, the main character, is one of my favorite characters in manga. His character growth is super, super good. He starts off really unlikable, but later on, he slowly becomes a better person, and you end up liking him more. I know a lot of people don't like these omnibus formats of this series, but personally, I didn't have any issue with them, and I still recommend picking them up if you want to give Gantz a try. I didn't have any cracks on my spines, and didn't have any issues reading it at all, so I still recommend giving Gantz a try. Unfortunately, my volume 12 does not fit, so it lives up there forever, wrapped, but what is in volume 12, I just read online because I wasn't even able to wait for the 12th volume to come out, and after reading the 11th volume, I just had to read the rest of the series online. Down here, I have some of my Shuzo Oshimi stuff. I have everything in English by Shuzo Oshimi besides Inside Mari Volume 6, unfortunately, but according to Dimpa, it should be getting its final reprint later this year. Crossing my fingers on that 100% and hoping that's actually true. But again, I have everything else published by him. I have some more stuff down there, which I'll probably just show right after this, but then go back up to that side. But for on this shelf, I have Flowers of Evil 1 through 4 complete. This is in my top 10. Shino Can't Say Her Name. Inside Mari, again, only missing volume 6. Happiness 1 through 10 complete. I love Shuzo Oshimi a lot. He is easily my favorite mangaka. His writing style and his art style is amazing. And there's only been 2 things that I've read by him that I didn't really like, which I actually do have in my collection, and they're one-shots, which I'll talk about down here. But on this side, I have Sweet Poolside, which is a one-shot. Welcome Back Alice 1 through 7 complete. All of Blood on the Tracks. This is my favorite Shuzo Oshimi series. This series is so, so good. It's in my top 10. I have it rated at 8.5 out of 10. I recommend this 100% if you're into psychological or thriller stuff. If you're into psychological stuff in general, definitely give Shuzo Oshimi stuff a try. But if you're into thriller or even horror, definitely give Blood on the Tracks a try. Then I have Avant-Garde Yumiko, which is a one-shot. Devil's Ecstasy 1 through 2 complete. And then here I have these like Anime Con or Manga Con exclusives released by Dimpa. There were only 100 printed of each of these, and they were exclusive at this con, and then they sold the leftover ones on Twitter. These are the 2 things that I don't like by Shuzo Oshimi. Waltz was alright and definitely had some potential if it was more fleshed out, but Miss Kusakabe, on the other hand, I did not like this series at all. But I do have these in my collection because I wanted to complete Shuzo Oshimi's stuff in English, and I really like that these are pretty exclusive and there's not really many there. So when I found them for a really good price on Manga Swap, I easily picked them up. and I'm glad I did. I also really like how Dumpa released these. I don't know why. They're very thin, and they're literally just stapled together, but they're tall and oversized. For some reason, I like that release. And then I have the Shuzo Oshimi art book. That's one of my favorite art books, but also Shuzo Oshimi is my favorite mangaka, so a bit biased on that. And then to go back up here, I have Vagabond in the Vizbigs, up to date / complete or whatever, because the series is just on hiatus, and it's been on hiatus forever. As you can see, I have a bookmark on the 8th omnibus. I stopped right before the farming arc, so maybe I cut myself short, but it's been a year since I last read what I read, so if I continue the series, I'm definitely just gonna continue from the start and then go all the way up to date. But from what I read, I did really enjoy it, and I gave it an 8 out of 10. I do think it's a bit overhyped. My biggest issue with Vagabond is I think for me it's just a bit too grounded and slow, but it is super poetic, and the artwork in this is absolutely insane. So that's what's really pushing my score up there, and there are some really dope characters and really badass moments. I can't remember his name, but this dude on this 5th omnibus, he was super cool, and his moment with Musashi was super cool. Here I have Planet Test 1 through 2 complete. Honestly, this is kind of my hot take. I wasn't really a big fan of this series. I kind of found myself bored reading this series at times, but I did really like the main character and his love interest, but every other character I wasn't interested in at all, and maybe that's the reason why I found myself bored, but also I think it's just a little too slow for me. It is a slice of life, and I'm not a big slice of life dude, but there were some really big and amazing moments, mainly with the main character and his love interest that I really enjoyed, that made me want to keep it in my collection, but also it was a gift from my girlfriend, so definitely not selling that off. Here I have Vinland Saga 1 through 13, that is up to date. Down here, I have my other Hero Oku work, Gigant, however you pronounce it. Most people don't like this series, but I actually thought it was a fun read, and I ended up giving it a 7.5. I really enjoyed it. It's nothing crazy, it's just a fun ride. It's a fun action, romance, sci-fi, with actually a pretty good ending, so I definitely recommend that. Next, I have Saikano 1 through 7 complete. I have yet to read this, but I picked this up recently for a really good price, and I'm super excited to give this series a try because I feel like I'll really like it, and honestly, kind of fitting for it to be next to Gigant. They're both kind of sci-fi action romances. Here I have Chainsaw Man 1 through 13. This is not up to date. I believe they're at like volume 16 by now. I have yet to read part 2 of Chainsaw Man, but I'm sure I'll like it. I read part 1 and I really enjoyed it. Then I have the Fujimoto before Chainsaw Man 17 through 21 and 22 through 26. This is my 3rd favorite series, Attack on Titan. This needs no introduction. Everybody knows this is a masterpiece, a modern masterpiece for sure. Definitely watch the anime or read the manga if you haven't. This series is just phenomenal. And then down here, I have Homunculus 1 through 10 complete. No Longer Human in the complete edition. This is 3 volumes comprised into 1. And then I have Real 1 through 15. I'm not gonna be able to put that back in. I have Real 1 through 15 up to date. I like this series more than Vagabond. I think his character design and his artwork on the characters in specific is super well done compared to Vagabond, but I do think Vagabond's scenery artwork is definitely better. But I also just like the story more. Now this series is super good. This is definitely in my top 15 or top 10, honestly. I have this rated at 8 out of 10. This series is super well done for how short it is. This is my only manhwa in my collection, and this is a great beginner series if you're wanting to get into manga or manhwa. It's a fast read, it's a tragic read, and the artwork is pretty good. And there's not much dialogue in the story. The artwork kind of speaks for itself, but again, it is super well done. Over here, I have my last Hero Oku work, Hirooku is actually my second favorite mangaka, right behind Shuzo Oshimi. But I have Inuyashiki by him, complete. Honestly, if you want to get into his work, I recommend this first instead of Gantz, as this has less shenanigans than Gantz. But they're both super, super good, and if you enjoy this series, definitely then give Gantz a try, or if you enjoyed Gantz, then give this series a try. Hirooku is a mastermind, in my opinion. He's really good at what he does. Next, this is kind of a portion that I don't really care about. I'm trying to sell this stuff off. I have Boys Abyss Volume 1. I read 85 chapters worth of that manga, and I'm not going to lie, guys. I'm going to rip the Band-Aid off. That was one of the worst manga I've ever read. 85 chapters in, and there was no progression whatsoever. I didn't like any of the characters, and the writing was pretty bad. So definitely trying to sell that off. That's the only manga I've ever dropped, actually. I just couldn't handle it anymore. Then I have After School Charisma. This series is pretty cool. It's just not really up my alley. I got it for cheap, but gave it a try. Didn't really like it that much. The volumes are unorganized, as I recently reorganized my collection, and I guess messed that up. Next, I have my Inyo Asano stuff. I have Downfall, Goodnight Punpun 1 through 7. This is in my top 10, but I'm definitely due for a reread, as when I last read this, my reading comprehension wasn't as good as it is now. So I feel like if I read this nowadays, I would enjoy it a lot more. But it's a super antagonizing and tragic read, so rereading it is definitely not light work by any means. And then I have Girl on the Shore. This one I didn't like as much as these two. I didn't like it at all until the ending, to be honest. The ending was actually super well done, though, and made me give it a score of above 5 to at least keep it in my collection. The release of it's pretty cool with the hardcover, but the series itself is, there's a reason why much people don't talk about it, but the ending is actually pretty well done. And then here I have this awesome Punpun figure. This is my other figure in my collection, made by this dude named Peak Figures on TikTok. This is one of the coolest things I've ever seen, and he definitely snapped on this. I love this figure a lot. Over here, I have March Comes In Like a Lion, Volume 1 and 2. So this is actually my other Kentaro Miura related thing. This is a special cover variant released by Dempa. The cover is actually illustrated by Kentaro Miura. This is one of the coolest releases, I think, of all time. I mean, it's a super dope series with Kentaro Miura contribution on the artwork for the cover. Super, super cool. I don't know if you can get this anymore. I know that they had some copies on Kinokuniya, and that's where I got mine, but they might be sold out by now. But super, super cool release. Here I have Eyes 1 through 15. This is such an underrated series. If you can get your hands on this, definitely do. It's a bit harder to find, but it is super, super well done. The only complaint I have about this series is the ending is a bit iffy. I gave this an 8 out of 10, so it's definitely in my top 15 mark of manga. This is just one of those series that I was so sad when it ended, and it's just super cutting edge, and there's a lot of fun moments and a lot of great characters. If you're into earlier shonen romance, definitely give this series a try. Next I have Battle Royale 1 through 15. This is actually my only purchase on Facebook Marketplace. I found this on Facebook Marketplace for retail, so I got a really good deal on that. Down here, I have my Nihei stuff, Nihei. I have Knights of Sidonia, 1 through 15 in the out-of-print singles complete. Blom, 1 through 6 in the Master Editions complete. And then next to that is the start of my Berserk Deluxe Editions. Again, I got these before I got the singles, and I think these are better for reading than the singles, and this is how I read Berserk through the deluxe editions, but I do think these singles actually look cooler than the deluxe editions. I think that's my hot take. And then down here I have my only Taiyo Matsumoto work, Ping Pong 1 through 2. I have yet to read this, as I recently picked it up for a super good deal, but I'm excited to read that, as I used to play ping pong as a hobby, so I feel like I'll enjoy that and appreciate it more. Then down here I have my Naruto box sets. All 3 of these were a gift from my girlfriend. 2 of them were for our anniversaries, and 1 of them was for Christmas. For Naruto, I actually do have the volumes on display on my Lonesome shelf. right below just some of these empty box sets, which is the Attack on Titan ones and the Silent Voice one. But I do have Naruto, all of it, 1 through 27 on display, or 72, excuse me. Naruto was the series that started this all for me. It was my first anime back in like 2016, and I just instantly fell in love with it. Naruto is so good, and I feel like the hate for Naruto is very forced. I think my only complaint with Naruto is its pacing is really bad. I mean, I feel like any series that is this long is definitely going to have some pacing issues, but Naruto's highs are high, and it has some amazing character and some of the best characters I've ever read in manga or seen in anime. So definitely give Naruto a try if you haven't. It's a legendary one for a reason. It's easily in my top 15. Next, I have Rurouni Kenshin 1 through 28. This is probably my best manga find ever. I got this whole series at a comic shop in perfect condition for $2.99 per volume. So I lucked out hella on this series, and I'm super excited to give this series a try. It's always been on my want-to-read list, but I just never got around to getting it. But luckily I didn't, because I lucked out and got this whole series for less than 90 bucks. Next, I have A School Frozen in Time 1 through 4 complete. Then down here I have Bakuman 1 through 20 complete. Death Note 1 through 12 complete. Again, I have some Death Note extras, but they're just in my box set. Then I have All You Need Is Kill, which is one of my favorite one-shots. I don't know if this is technically a one-shot, but it's comprised into one volume in English, so I've always just considered it that. But super well done, and Obata's art is just amazing, and I think he does a phenomenal job, especially in this one. Then down on this bottom shelf, I have Mob Psycho 1 through 11, and then the Reagan one-shot volume. This is not up to date. I believe they're at like volume 13 or 14 by now. But Mob Psycho is in my top 10. I have it rated at 8.5. The series is so freaking good, man. There is just everything in this series. There's comedic moments, there's action moments, and there's even heartfelt moments. And I related to Mob a lot when I first gave this series a try. And it definitely holds a soft spot in my heart. Then I have AI Love You. This is done by the same mangaka as Love Hina. I recently picked this up at a bookstore, actually, for 20 bucks for the full set. And it's overall in really good condition, so lucked out on that. This is just a quirky, fun romance series. Nothing crazy, but it's just fun. A Silent Voice. I remember watching the movie for the first time and just immediately falling in love with it. And it's one of my favorite movies of all time. This movie is so good, and the manga is really good too. I remember when I first watched the movie, I just related to it a bunch, and the tears were definitely rolling, but it's so good. Definitely watch the movie, and if you enjoy the movie, definitely read the manga. I have this rated a 9 out of 10. And then here I have Seiko Terra. This is kind of a bit more of an obscure series under Kodansha's releases. This is the complete series in these omnibuses. This series is alright. I gave it like a 6 or a 6.5 out of 10. I really liked the beginning, and I really liked the end, but man, there's some stuff that happens about midway through the series that just left such a sour taste in my mouth, and I just couldn't forget it. Like, I was just so upset for the rest of my time reading, and it's not necessarily that it's like tragic, it's just like, it was just moments that happened that just didn't need to happen, and it just like, why did they do that? You know what I mean? So that's what lowered my score a lot. But overall, it was still fun. It was still like a good read, I would say. It's just those moments were really hard to swallow. But if you're a fan of Beck, this series is very similar, and it gets compared to Beck a lot. But instead about music, it is about motorcycles, and it is a seinen instead of a shonen. So if you're into Beck, or if you're into coming-of-age stories, maybe give this series a try. Overall, again, I thought it was alright. It's just some stuff goes down that definitely just didn't need to happen. But that is it for my main shelves. Again, I do have that no-fit pile that I will show off. That is it for my main shelves. So yeah, let's go to that no-fit pile, though. So this is my no-fit pile. As you can see, it's not as much as, you know, I feel like most people's is when they do have one. But here I have Innocent Omnibus 1. I'm waiting until the third one comes out because that will wrap up the first part of this series until the sequel comes out. So I'm waiting until that third omnibus to give this series a try, but I've been so excited to give this series a try, and I've been really trying to hold back. Sakamoto's art is insane, and I'm super excited for the Climber release also. Here I have Look Back. This is my favorite one-shot. Recently saw the movie, and it was super well done. Then I have Not Simple by Nasume Ono, Satoshi Kon's Opus, Parasite in the full color collections 1 through 3. This is one of the coolest manga releases, I think. I mean, it's in full color, it's a nice hardback, and there's extras after each volume at the end of it, and they're only 20 bucks per volume, so you can't really beat that. And then here I have some Otsama Tezuka stuff. I have Apollo Song and 100 Tales. Then I have Spriggan, Omnibus 1. I have yet to read this, but it seems super up my alley. So if I enjoy that, I'll definitely pick up the rest. Then I have my other Nasume Ono work, Risornata Paradiso. And then I have probably my most niche thing in my collection. These are my only manga floppies in my collection, and it is Venus Wars, done by Yasuhiko, who is the same mangaka behind Gundam Origin. His artwork is some of my favorite artwork of all time. I mean, look at that cover, man. If you're into space series, if you're into war series, if you're into political stuff like political war space, this series is definitely up your alley. It's nothing crazy, but it's definitely a fun short read. This series is only published in floppy format by Dark Horse back in probably like the 80s or the 90s. So that is the only way of getting this series. I'm not a big fan of floppies, but I wanted this series, so that's why I decided to pick it up. But yeah, that is my current manga collection of late 2024, pretty much 2025. I have some stuff on the way, however. I don't know if I'll upload more on here. Maybe I will. Maybe I'll upload some hauls here and there, or maybe I'll upload, you know, another collection video after a couple years or something, you know, when it grows a significant amount more. But who knows? But yeah, if you made it this far in the video, that's very shocking, and I appreciate it a bunch. But again, if you want to see more of my collection, definitely check out my TikTok, as I'm way more consistent on that. And I don't know if this is just going to be a one-time thing or not on YouTube, but who knows? But again, if you made it this far, thanks, and I appreciate it a bunch. Peace.